All right, so today we're going to be going over more lightweight quality of life add-ons. Now, because the War Within right now is more in that leveling, fun, gathering professions phase, I'm going to focus on more accessible and widely applicable add-ons, so nothing to do with Raid or Mythic Plus. So hopefully you find at least one thing in this list that's helpful to you. Now, starting off, if you're in a guild and you've been playing the War Within, I'm willing to bet you either get one of two things. Either everyone in the guild going online and offline at the same time, or guild achievements popping up even when the guild isn't getting anything new. Now, there's a really simple add-on for this, and it's called Guild Spam Silencer. Now, if you're on CurseForge, you can search this, but if you're on WoWups looking for this add-on, you have to search Rafe Wolf, as it's spelled out here. This is the creator of the add-on. I haven't been able to get this add-on to be high up in searches in WoWup yet, so searching for the creator gets you to it. This add-on blocks exactly and no more of the things that are annoying that are currently impacting guilds because of the cross-faction and race change abundancy in guilds right now. Blizzard basically has to flip the achievements. So if you have achievements for being an undead and you race change to Draenei, then you will have all the achievements for being a Draenei, and then the guild has to recalculate the guild achievements, and it takes it away temporarily and gives it back, then displays the achievement for every single person in the guild, no matter what you're doing. And it's really annoying. This add-on just stops it. You never to see it again. It also stops the noise from guildies coming online and offline, so your ears aren't just blasted out whenever this happens. Next is an add-on called Extra Quest Button, and it does exactly what it sounds like it does. It takes the quest button on the right side of your screen with all the quests, and it puts it in an extra action button in the center of your screen or wherever you want it to be, and then you can even bind that individually. You can also configure the add-on to work with only quests that you have tracked. Note that in the War Within leveling, this works like 85% of the time. The reason it does not work sometimes is because some things aren't technically quests. They're like bonus objective or they're a scenario, and it's not an item that the game has permanently put in your bags for the duration of the quest. It might be like a temporary thing or an extra action button. So it doesn't work for everything, but it works for a lot of things, and it helps you to not have to click a quest button, at least I'd say 90% of the time. Also, Extra Quest Button is one of the first add-ons I've seen where you configure it by just going in the base game edit mode, and then it's able to be configured there, and the settings for the add-on pop up there, which is pretty nice. I think add-ons should do this a lot more. It's much nicer having things in this menu with all the other add-on settings for the base game than having to go in menus and look for it. And on the topic of UI improvements, another add-on is Glider, this one in the center here. Now, it's technically called Skyriding / Dragonriding Glider, but if you search Glider, it'll come up as well. What this does is it replaces the base game Dragonriding / Skyriding speed, as well as your current vigor, recharge rate, as well as how much energy you have available. Now, it works a lot better than the base game in that it updates immediately, and it also shows you the actual number live, so you can tell if you're accelerating and you can just leave it alone, or if you're decelerating and you're going to run out of speed eventually if you want to like AFK for a few minutes while you fly somewhere. It is also very responsive, super lightweight, has had no issues, and I think it's just a little nicer and more utility than base game. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong with the base game Dragonriding. It's just that it takes up too much space, and also it's kind of hard to tell if you're regenning vigor, especially because like right now I'm not regenning. But if I nose down and wait for a bit, I will start regenning because the dragon or the mount accelerates and decelerates. It doesn't just instantly snap to the speed. So you see now I'm regenning here, and it's kind of hard to find that sweet spot if you're trying to min-max distance or you want to like get up and get a drink while your mount's on the way. It's really hard to tell with the base UI. Also, if you have add-ons and your UI is fully customized, the base UI is just taking up way too much space, and there's no real way to like properly resize it in the base game because, as you see here, this is technically the boss encounter bar, and so if you move this around, you're moving important boss mechanics that are displayed in this UI, and I don't really know why they did that. So yeah, I recently started using Glider, and I think it's just better in every way. Now, in the last video, I did show Blizz Move, which lets you resize and move around windows, like, for example, the Transmog window. Now, in Blizz Move, you can control and mouse wheel to make the window bigger. You see it bugs out the Transmog window, but that's fixed if you close it and reopen it. However, I still think sometimes I wish I could make this side bigger and not this side bigger. Now, I found an add-on called Transmogrify Resize. So you turn the add-on on, you click the transmog window, and nothing changes, and it gives you that error. However, every other time you use the transmog window, it makes just that side bigger. It makes it so that it's not bugging out the items too much, and honestly, having this menu of items here bigger doesn't really help that much. But having your character nice and big and always well lit, I'm sure if you've transmog a lot, you've known like the darkness, when the light's missing on your character, sometimes it just doesn't render in. I've not had that happen since I've been using this add-on. But yeah, Transmogrify Resize does what it says, resizes the transmog window. Next is an add-on called Syndicator, and if you're using Baginator, which is a super popular bag add-on right now, Syndicator is a dependency of Baginator, so you might already have it. However, if you just want to know, when you mouse over an item, do I have this in the bank? Does my alt have this? Which character has this item? Syndicator gets that done in the tooltip for you. So when you mouse over items here, you see with Syndicator, it'll tell me, like, for example, this cloth, I have 4 in my bag, 4 in my bank. Or the globs, I have 9 on my shaman, 23 on my mage. It just does this, and it does it really well. It will also show if you have something in the auction house as well. So if you want to retrieve an item that you already have up for sale, you can go get that. Now, when you install Syndicator the first time, you will have to go log into each one of your characters so it gets a snapshot of all the items you have. And you also need to go to the bank and go to the auction house if you're using those to store items. So it just gets that one-time snapshot. From then on, there's no way to edit something in your bank without opening your bank, so it'll keep updating. And it's super lightweight. It hasn't thrown a single error since I've been using it, and it's just super convenient. A lot of the add-ons that have this functionality also do like 25 other different things, and I don't really want any of that other stuff. I just want this one thing to be done, and Syndicator does that really, really well. Now, on the topic of account-wide functionality and alts, this add-on is called Account-Wide Interface Options Settings. And this does exactly what you would think an add-on with that convoluted of a name does. It makes interface settings that aren't account-wide, makes them account-wide. So when you install this the first time, you check whatever boxes you want. And one of the greatest checkboxes you can do is to block the services channel on every single character. And then when you configure this add-on for the first time, it might reset some basic settings here. So go back through your settings and make sure things like auto loot and your bag settings, as well as your nameplate settings, and the personal resource display if you want that on or off. I know for sure these 3 things will reset with this add-on. And then whenever you have those boxes checked in the actual add-on setting and go to another character, it will copy these settings to that other character. So a lot of the things in the game that I mentioned there, auto loot, personal resource display, and some of the nameplate checkboxes are not account-wide for some reason. And especially the chat settings here are not account-wide. Making all of this account-wide so you're not accidentally seeing boosting ads or you're not like missing loot on the ground because you clicked once and then moved away thinking it would auto-loot. This solves all these problems and it does it really well. Again, no errors, no issues, just works fine. Now, whenever I'm looking for add-ons for these lists or just looking for add-ons for myself in general, I always search by either the most recently updated or the fewest downloads so I can catch add-ons that people might be working on live as I'm searching. This first one is more for fun, but the second one's actually game-changing, I think. Now, in the last video, Key UI was the add-on I found that at the time had so little downloads it didn't show a number. These 2 add-ons I'm about to talk about are in the same boat. Now they have like a couple hundred downloads, but when I had first found them, it just said few downloads with no actual number. So the first one is Azeroth Exchange Rate. And what this does is whenever you search for anything in the auction house, it puts a dollar value, which is converting the gold amount to the WoW token value. This doesn't really have much utility. It's more just for fun, so you at a glance get like sort of a grounding of how much things are in the game, which is insane. And remember, Blizzard putting the WoW token in the game basically made it so that everything in the game is pay to win in a sense. So this add-on gives you that price. Now, the one thing, this add-on was made 5 years ago and not updated since. I don't know how it's still working. It also puts the dollar value of gold you have in your bag. And it also sometimes puts the dollar value on the sell price of items if the sell price is high enough. The problem is just that 1 gold is nothing, basically, or 1 silver is pretty much nothing. Now, in my experience of using this add-on, it has no way to actually update the gold value for token live. So if you go into the Lua file of the add-on in your add-ons folder, you can see right here there's a local US dollar price variable. Now you can change this to whatever value the token is in the game right now. Tokens don't really move that much, just at the start of an expansion, the token's moving a lot and the add-on is kind of falling out of accuracy. I just think this is really funny and it's like a really interesting add-on to have, even though there's pretty much no point to be seeing this information, it's just kind of cool. Now, the second add-on, and the last add-on in this list, it's actually made by the same exact developer of Azeroth Exchange Rate. And this add-on is called GearStick. But for some reason in the add-on list in-game, it's called Gearing Tool. But searching GearStick in WoW up one word will get it to pop up. And what GearStick does is it puts this tooltip in dungeon journals, as well as in your currently equipped gear. So this tells you the amount of players that are the top players in whatever it says at the start there. So for PvE, it's using Raider.io, so the top Mythic Plus players. It shows you the percentage of players for your spec that are using this item. Now, do not use this just to gear. There are other websites, like for example, if you manually look through Warcraft logs, or if you go to Wowhead, or if you go to archon.gg, we'll give you this exact same information, the percentage of players using a certain thing. But to have this in-game is insanely cool. And I don't know how this add-on only has a couple hundred downloads at the time of me making this video. It's super useful, especially at the start of an expansion, when you see a new item or a trinket that you've never seen before, and you can immediately see if it's popular. And then if it's popular, you can go look at best in slot lists, or you can go find logs if it's Mythic Plus gear or raid gear. Just gives you a little bit more direction than having to see an item and then guess if it's like used by a lot of people or not. Now, the most used item is not necessarily the best item, so use this to help you gear, but don't just blindly equip the highest percentage used item, even though it's using the top of the leaderboard of your spec to get this, so it's probably not going to be too bad. Just a disclaimer I wanted to add. It also works for PvP, by the way, but because there's no PvP in the game, like there's no rated PvP active right now, you won't see it. But it will tell you 2v2 and 3v3s. What's the top, I think it's 5,000 of each spec in that type of mode. What are they running? But yeah, I'm not too sure why this hasn't gotten a lot of downloads. The add-on updates every single day, and it pulls the top PvPers from the official Blizzard leaderboards, and it pulls the top Mythic Plus players from the Raider.io leaderboards. So it's using accurate data, and it updating every day means that you're always getting up-to-date percentages. Now, I will say at the start of the expansion, the top Raider.io leaderboards is probably by item level in terms of the player item level. So this probably doesn't really mean anything right now. It's just that I wanted to show this obviously for next week when content actually begins and people are trying to target best gear and stuff like that. This is a really good in-game tooltip direction that I think improves the base game. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for now. I can finally set all my add-ons back to on now at the end of this video. And again, I tried to focus these set of add-ons on things that are usable right now that are applicable before raids and PvP and Mythic Plus comes out. And none of these add-ons I think are game-changing. I think each of them just add a little bit of improvement to the game experience. And honestly, half of these should be things that are just integrated into the game somehow. But we don't live in that reality. So hopefully you found at least one thing useful. But that's going to be all for now though. Later.